Alright, we haven't played with gravity yet. Let's do that now. Under the user code, let's collapse the player settings and let's go to the level settings. And under level settings, you will see world gravity. So this is the gravity for level 1. If we have more than one level, you can have different gravity numbers between them. So for this one, if I put like 1.5, you will see now that it has a more aggressive gravity. If I try to jump, it's almost like a very difficult task. And same with the inverse gravity. And same if I choose a different gravity number, maybe 0.3. Now it should be more floaty, the gravity. All right, let's change the gravity back to 0.7 in here, and let's put now the level dimensions in 3000 or 4000. Then what I suggest is since I have now a level of 4000 pixels, I will create in a background of that same size so I can know where I am placing the platforms. So let's do that now. Let's take like maybe a dark blue for the background for now. And let's create a background of, it was 4000 and 700, and then let's put it in 0, starting in 0 and 0. So now with this in place, I will know for sure where my stage starts and where the stage ends. So I can drag here. Okay. I will create a huge platform now. Let's do that by copy this one. And let's just put it in a size of, I don't know, 2000. And let's move it to the right. And then let's align it to 1200 and then 350 in Y, and then let's hit play. Alright, so this seems to be working fine. Now let's do a zoom out and let's copy this one, and I want to do like a roof. Now let's do a zoom in. Let's align this a little bit to 2000, 0, and hit play. Okay, here is something very important. If you exceed the maximum level size, let's say that you move this to the right, 2050 now, and that's cause a break. So that's very important. That's why I suggest to do a background, a solid background, when you are designing your stage at the same size of the level that you specify in your level settings here. So in this case, the level size was 4,700. So now let's just back to here. Let's now duplicate this one and do some more floor in here, and then let's do a wall. So the wall will be like 50 in width and 700 in height, and then I will place it at the end. Let's see if it's aligned in coordinates. Nope. This should be in 3950, and this one in 50. And if I press play, everything looks nice, everything is working, and we can dash, and we can die for sure. Okay, now let's add some doors. So if we go to the to the engine code, and then we look for the doors portal, we have that the doors has a value, an RGB value of 220, 20, and 220. I have already that color in here, 220, 20, 220. And we have now to create that door within the colliders layer. So let's try. So my suggestion is to create the door always bigger than the player, so it can work properly. So now let's try to do it like a width of 100, height of 100 as well, and let's align to 600 and then 400 in Y. Alright, and then we have the second door, the other side of this door. And the way that the engine works is that we have to assign an ID to this door. If we click on it, the ID will be the weight, the stroke weight, and we can say that this door has an ID of 1. So now if we just zoom out and then drag a little bit so we can see the entire level. Let's see. Okay, and now we duplicate this door and move it into the right by pressing shift and right arrow. It will doing it in terms of 10 pixels. So let's put it like in here. If we notice, if we click in here, it's aligned to 50, 3100, and in here it's not. So let's correct that. Let's put 250, 100 in size, which is fine. And then we need to assign a different door ID to this one. Let's do number 2. Okay, so now this door has an ID of 1 and this door has an ID of 2. Now we have to link them together. So let's go to the user code, let's collapse the player settings, and under the level settings we have the doors area. I just uncomment this area here, and now we have that the doors ID number 1, which is the left one, it will go to the frame number 1, which is the same frame of this stage, and it will look for the door ID number 2, which is this one. It's the right one that we have here. And then we have to do the same thing with the second door. If I enter from the second door, so this is the door ID number 2, it will go to frame number 1, which is the same frame of this level, and then it will look for door ID number 1. So now they are linked. So let's just recenter the entire level and hit play. And then if I on the center of the door and I press up, nothing happened, and it seems that it's not aligned to the Pix unit. And so if we notice in the Y coordinates, it's not a multiple of 50, so let's put 400 instead. So now if we click play again and we press up, it will redirect to the other door, and vice versa if I press up here. So that's how you do doors in this engine. Now let's try to add a second level here in a different frame. So in order to do that, let's expand this layer view, and then there are some rules that we have to follow. So we need to extend the debug layer and then the engine layer, because we will be reusing this object here, the debug information, and also the engine code and the user code will be for the physics body in case that you need different, players and enemy. So you will have a different frame for that. Same with the platforms, we need a new frame, and for the graphics as well. For this video we will not be covering graphics, but for the next video we will. Same with the background. If we are in the different layer, we might need a different background. Let's go to the user code. Let me do this again. User code. Let's collapse the player setting. Let's assume that we will be using the same player for the second level. So let's just use that one. But then for these level settings, we need another level settings for level 2. So let's copy this one. Copy and then paste it below, and then let's change it to level 2 settings. For the second level, we will be using the same player 1 settings, so this will be the same. And then for the frame, the level 2 will be on frame 2, so let's put frame number 2. In terms of dimensions, let's go again with 1250 for now, which is the same camera size. So let's put in here 2000. And then let's keep the same gravity for both levels. And for doors, let's just comment these doors out for now, because we will not have at the beginning. Okay. The camera will be tracking the same player, which is player 1. And we need to add a second level here. So let's do that. Let's copy this line and paste it. Let's do level 2 here, frame 2, and then we will be passing level 2. So the engine will still start on level 1 unless we specify otherwise. And then for level 2, let's press play. And then as you notice, we start in level 1 as we specified. But we still need some things. We don't have player for the second level, so let's copy this player 1, copy, and put it into the bodies of the second level. Let's press play, paste, and now we have player 1, which is part of the level 2 settings. If we go to the level 2 settings is expecting, player 1 settings. I'm sorry, this is not the one here. Level 2 settings is expecting level 1 player 1 level settings. And if we go to the player 1 settings, it's expecting a clip name called player 1, which is the one that we just pasted. So now for player 2 also the camera was expecting player 1 clip, so now we are satisfying both. Right, and what else? I guess if we put number 2 here, we will start at level number 2. Yep. So even if I put the Wick Editor in frame 1, when I press play, it will go to level 2 because we specify that. Okay. And you can see level 2 is like a vertical level. So as I suggested earlier, we will need to put a background with the same size of the level size so we can know where to put platforms. So it will be 1250 by 2000. Let's select a blue, like this blue for level 2, or maybe like an orange to make a difference, like this one. And then let's just do the size, which is 1250, and then 2000 in height, and then starting at 0 and Y in 0. Okay, now if we press play, we can see our level. Now this should be not in the user code, but in the background, so it will disappear when we are in debug mode. So all this time we have been playing with this engine in debug mode, but in the next video I will explain how to not be in debug mode and be in normal mode. So now we can play some platforms. Now let's copy and paste one of the doors in here. And in this case, let me put it at the end of the stage, just for fun. And let's see. So we have already ID number 1 and ID number 2, and this will be ID number 3. And then we have to align it to maybe 3750, and 550 is fine. So now it has ID number 3, and now let's copy this one to this second stage and paste it somewhere. Let's see, let's put it in here, and we have to align it to A50 and 600. So for ID, since we are in a different level, we can reset this to 1. So this door is in level 2, but the ID is 1. So since it's in a different level, we can repeat the IDs, but we cannot use the same ID within the same level. I'm sorry. So so now we have to link the level 1 door 3 with the level 2 door 1. So let's do that. let's go to the level settings. Let's start with level 1. So we have to add in here a third door. Let's do that now. Copy and then paste. And then the ID will be 3. And this door will go to frame 2 for the second level. And it will be looking for door number 1. And then we have to add that door into the second layer level. So let's uncomment this section. Let's delete the first door since we only have one. So in the second level, the door ID is number 1. It will go to level 1 or frame 1, and it will look for door ID number 3. Okay, and that will be it. Let's write this out. So since we are telling the engine to start in level number 2, that's what is happening right now. So let's change that. So let's go to level, no, it's at the end of this script. So let's put in a 1 in here. So now we can expect to start in level 1. That's fine. We are in level 1. We can use this door and it will go there. We can still navigate through this stage. We can do dashing, dash a little bit, and then we are in the third door. If we go there, we are in the second stage. So as you notice, here we are in the second frame. If I press up again, we are in the first frame again. So we are changing levels basically. So I can float and fall, float. So I think that will be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and probably it will be useful for doing some platforms game. So thank you very much for seeing this tutorial, and expect the next one very soon. Thank you.